Today we are going to talk about my most asked question that I get here on YouTube, and that is, are my 6 kids that are adults frugal? I get asked this all of the time, so we're going to address some of that today, along with some other factors that went into me raising 6 kids in a rural country area, just like I was raised. Next. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. I'm Bonita. I am from rural Kansas, and I raised 6 children that are now ages 25 to 41 in the same rural area in which I was raised. It was 7 miles to the closest school. They rode the bus until they were old enough to be able to drive in high school and purchase their own cars. And this is how we went about learning a lot of things in the country. Many people might think being raised on a farm is a disadvantage, but I would choose to look at it as anywhere you live, there's going to be advantages of where you live and disadvantages. It's up to us to pull those advantages out of where we live and learn from them and use them to our benefit. I was raised by Depression era parents in this same area, and I learned a lot from them without even realizing I was learning it, just by observing them growing up. And children do this. They observe their parents, and that gets stored in the back of their mind, and later they think about how their parents did it and whether or not they want to carry forward the things that they observed and learned about money matters. Now, a lot of people will say that school does not teach you how to manage your money. I don't know about you, but when I think back to the classes that I had, I did indeed learn things about managing money. And maybe it was some of the classes that I chose is why I feel like this. I took general business class in high school. In that class, we did a budget. We even went out and purchased a car at a car lot, make believe, and added these things into our budget. We went and got groceries and added them up, and the local store worked with us so we could figure out how to manage our money. These were things we did in class. In home ec, we made menus. We also planned how much this stuff would cost, went to the grocery store, priced it out. Those are all things we learned in school. I took accounting in high school, I took it in college, and we learned how interest was added to things and where to post that interest and those extra fees and charges that went along with borrowing money. These were all taught in school. So when I hear from people that they didn't learn how to manage money in school, maybe they didn't take some of these classes. But in my little school that had a total of 300 people or less from kindergarten through 12th grade, we learned these things. And my kids all went to the same school. So I have 6 kids. 4 are married. I have 2 that are in long-term significant relationships, and of those 2, 1 is engaged. I paid for the 2 daughters that are married. I paid for all of their wedding. I paid for 4 of those children to get braces, and I paid for all 6 of those kids to go to college and get bachelor's degrees. Now, 1 went on to get a Juris Doctorate, got a full scholarship based on her test scores to get into law school. 1 of them is currently getting his PhD, got a full ride on because of scholarships to get his PhD. I have 2 with a master's degree. I have 1 with a bachelor's degree. And the other one has a PhD that he also paid for and received after he had his master's degree. So they all have done really well. They've all been able to support themselves. I hear bad things about people going to college and having all of this debt. I looked at it when I had kids that this was part of my responsibility to help educate my children. So this is a priority that I set for myself early on, was to help pay for their education. Not everyone believes that way, and that's okay. But I'm just letting you know where I come from. So my kids graduated college with no debt. And that was something that I intended for them from the beginning, to make them be able to be more self-sufficient, take care of themselves, and not be where they had to move back home and I had to help them through their adult life. I know a lot of friends who have had to help their adult children, or they've had to move back home. And this influenced me being able to help them get a leg up from the beginning so that that would not happen. Or hopefully that would not happen. And luckily it did not. So they're all supporting themselves, supporting their families, and doing very well. So out of my 6 kids, some are frugal and some are not frugal. And I always say that even if they choose to not be frugal, they know how to be. And that is the most important thing. They have those fundamentals to fall back on if they need to, or to pull bits and pieces of frugality out to work with them in their household as they see the need. So those fundamentals that they have learned or observed from me are things that they can pull out as they need to. They learned a lot from my father as well. He was alive until my youngest was 11. So they were able to observe the things that he did and how he spent money as well. So that is 2 generations that they were able to observe in a rural country environment that influenced the way that they save or spend money now. It's funny, I have a few of the kids that know that they're frugal, and then I have some that don't even realize that they're frugal. I had a conversation with my middle son last week, and he said, I'm not very frugal, and I'm definitely not as frugal as you are. I told him, just with what you have told me in your lifetime, you are frugal. And he goes, no, I'm not. We spend money. And I said, let me give you some examples of how you are frugal. You research items before you purchase them to make sure that you spend money on quality items that are going to last. That is a frugal quality. You spend more money on those items because you believe they are better quality. That is a frugal quality. You save in accounts ahead of time for home repairs, for vacation, for emergency fund. Those are all frugal qualities. You pay your credit card off every month to get that cash back. That is a frugal quality. You do your home repairs yourself. You've remodeled your entire house and you've only asked for help from family and friends and only paid out for the things that you couldn't do yourself, and everything else you did yourself. That is a frugal quality, and you're debt free. That is a frugal quality. All of those things are frugal, and he didn't realize it. He thought because he spends money on home repairs and that they get the best of some of the things when they buy them, that he wasn't frugal. And I pointed out all these areas. I'm like, you are definitely frugal. You've used it to the max in the areas that has given you the best benefit for your dollar. Those are frugal qualities. I have another child who sometimes will take things that one of the kids has discarded. He will repair it and use it and come up with a better quality item than he would feel like he wanted to spend himself. So he took one of his brother's office chairs that the brother was going to toss, repaired it, and has a very nice, expensive office chair that he spent next to nothing on by repairing it. I have a daughter that told me the other day, I'm mad that I have to spend $45 a month on a storage unit. I'm trying to get that off of there. I'm trying to get that stuff out of there because that just angers me. And I told her a lot of people spend a lot more than $45 a month on a storage unit. And the fact that you are aware of that and you're trying to get your stuff out of there, that's fantastic. All of those things are moves that help you financially. And she will even make a list for her fiance of things that are left over in the fridge that he can eat to avoid him from going out to eat or grabbing something at a fast food restaurant. They make their menus on the board, they eat leftovers, they even plan the leftovers on the board. She's very, very organized when it comes to how she plans her meals and how she makes them stretch. Now, one of my other sons, he spends a little bit more money on food than I would, but he makes sure that everything gets used and nothing gets wasted. Even though he spends more on the things that he cooks at home, he will make sure it all gets used, or he will cook exactly the right amount so that it all gets used. All of those things are frugal qualities. So there's never a contest on who's more frugal or how can we be more frugal. We can pick and choose and pull frugal qualities and work them into our lives that make the most difference and make the most sense for us. One of the girls that I tell you is not as frugal, they still don't owe money. Even though she spends more freely on things, the husband makes sure everything is paid for. So even if you manage your money in that way, it is still a responsible way to have some of those frugal qualities in your household. Again, it's not a contest. It is what makes sense for your family, what keeps you debt free, what keeps you using what you have to its fullest capacity, and what keeps you feeling comfortable with the way you're spending money so that you're not feeling like you're wasting your money or just treading or 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. That is what really gets frustrating, and what causes so much stress and anxiety with inflation is when you feel like you're just not making progress or you're not making good decisions. These things, when you decide how you're going to do them and you are comfortable and you see the benefit of the way that you are choosing to spend your money, and you still end up debt free in the end, that can still be considered frugal. So I just want to encourage you that as you move forward, as you make decisions for what is best for your household, whether or not you make your own cleaning supplies, whether or not you hang your clothes on the line, whether or not you stick money in savings every single payday, all of those are personal decisions of what works best for you. Some people have, the envelope system where they divide it out by category, or they have different bank accounts where they divide out what they're doing for their sinking funds, like saving money back for a new car, or saving money back for property taxes. Those are all tools to help you manage your money better. Now, I've never had all of those different little pots that I stick money in. I've always just had one savings account that I dump everything extra in above and beyond what I have in my bank account that I don't need. And then I pull from that when and if I need it. But I always try to use what's in my checking account, make more money if I need to put in my checking account to cover all of those things. And then if I have extra, it goes in my savings. But I've always been a one pot savings type of person. Now, the son that I was talking to you about in the beginning, he has different pots for home improvement, for vacation, for an emergency fund. He has different pots for that. I never had different pots for that. My dad never had different pots for that. That's kind of a new philosophy of how some people will save money, as they have all of those different accounts. But I always just had one savings account and dumped everything into there, and I was able to make that work. So all of these are personal decisions of how you can be more frugal and how you can make your money stretch. But there's no wrong or right answer. There's only what's right for you. I just wanted to answer that for everybody today. I know people are super curious, and I did do a little picture in the thumbnail of part of my family. It's impossible to get all 6 of them together. The last time we had all 6 of them together, I want to say was about 7 or 8 years ago when one of them got married, because as you know, several of them live in different states. So it's really, really difficult. I get to see them all, but the most we've had together at one time since then, we had 5 of them together like a year ago when my aunt passed away. But it's really hard to get all 6 of them together. So that I wanted to blur out their faces to protect them. 2 of them do not even watch YouTube. So I just wanted to do that so that you kind of had an idea of the magnitude of the size of my family, because I do have 6 kids, and I have 13 grandkids. We have sons and daughters-in-law. We have a very large family, but we still make it work on a very low income, including Christmas and vacation. It's all very doable. And like I said, we're still debt free, no medical debt, all because of the choices that we've made. Now we make choices to spend money and more in other areas that are important to us, like the Christmas and the vacation, but we still make it work, and those are personal decisions. I hope this video has been encouraging to you. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. I hope to see you in the next video, and thank you for listening today.